Am I the astronaut for insisting that my mom pay back the money she made me owe to a thrift store? The other day, I, 22 male, went with some friends to various thrift stores to see if we could find a leather trench coat for a reasonable price. We found one, and it's exactly what I was looking for. The coat is not in pristine condition, but I didn't care. The price seemed reasonable, and I paid for it using my debit card. I got home and showed my mom the coat. She asked how much it cost. I told her, and she said that it was awfully expensive for a used coat. She asked if I could show her the receipt, so I did. She then asked if it was possible that they charged me twice. I told her no, that I was fine with the amount I paid, and I was just happy to have the coat. She told me that she was just making sure that I had done the math correctly since it's something I struggle with, and that I was keeping track of the money in my account to be sure there was enough for the trip my friend and I are going on in January. At this point, I was really starting to get annoyed. I told her again that I was fine with the amount that I paid and I still had enough for the trip. We had already booked our plane tickets and reservations. I told her that I appreciated her help, but there wasn't any issue, and could she please let this go? She gave a very reluctant sounding, okay. I went to my room to lie down for a while. Later that evening, my mom told me that she had called the store asking if they were sure they hadn't charged me twice. Initially, they told her that it did seem like I overpaid for the coat, so they issued a partial refund. But they then called back a few minutes later and said that they in fact had charged the right amount. They tried to cancel the refund, but in case I got it, I would need to pay them back. I was pissed and yelled at my mom that I told her multiple times that I was fine with the amount that I paid and she needs to respect my boundaries. She admitted that she should have just listened and that she would be the one to pay them back if the refund went through and I could keep the money for my trip. I told her thank you and thought that that was the end of it. A few days later, I checked my account and saw that hundreds of dollars, roughly 4 times the amount I paid, had been deposited into my account. This doesn't seem like a problem. I showed it to my mom and she told me that I needed to pay it back. I told her that she had told me she would let me keep the money and be the one to pay them back. Okay, I see where this is going now. She said that I could keep the money she thought they owed me, but not the additional money. I told her that I wouldn't owe this money if she hadn't meddled, which is true. She agreed that she was in the wrong, but it's nonetheless my responsibility and the right thing to do. I reminded her that her reasoning for doing this was because she was worried I wouldn't have enough money for my trip, and now I have an additional $300, so mission accomplished for her. She's insisting that I pay it back, but I feel that she should keep her promise and be the one to pay, as I wouldn't be in this position if it wasn't for her. Okay. The question is, am I the astronaut for insisting that my mom pay back the money she made me owe to a thrift store? Which I feel like is a misleading title, right? And you know what? Mom shouldn't have meddled. He's right about that. Should not have meddled. But this is like it's a thrift store. I'm going to make an assumption here that it's a not-for-profit organization, that they have a community mission where they actually do some good. And this was an error where they accidentally sent too much money back to him. And they were trying to undo it anyway. So at some point, they're going to be aware that they sent him way too much money, and then he's just going to be the asshole that won't return the accidental money that this not-for-profit organization sent to him. I understand a lot of thrift stores are not-for-profit, and they're for-profit organizations, but for the sake of the story, because we don't know, let's assume that it is a not-for-profit organization with the local community mission. So they accidentally sent him too much money, and he's like, nah, I'm keeping it. Ma, you can pay the stuff back. And I think her offering to pay back whatever partial refund that they had issued in case it actually went all the way through makes sense. It does not apply to them sending hundreds of dollars accidentally through to this. So yeah, you're an asshole, OP. How big an asshole are you? How big a boy are you? So yeah, whatever the difference is what he owes them back. And in this case, I think, I think mom's offer to pay back whatever partial refund that went through is now negated as well. Now, what he can do is he can pull the money out, give it to his mom, and she can go return it to them. And that would be her still making some kind of penance here for her meddling, which caused all of this shit to happen. But he's still an asshole for wanting to keep this money, right? In a world without consequences, money just shows up in your bank and you're like, oh, cool. But there's a consequence for this one. It would have a negative effect on the community. He's not viewing it as stealing it because they accidentally gave it to him. And he's like, oh, sweet. Then it's a gift. It's not stealing, right? Yeah, I mean, it is. Because you know exactly what happened. Where would we put him, though? We can go ahead and get the everyone sucks here out of the way. Because, yeah, this happened because of her. She shouldn't have meddled. He repeated himself several times and said, don't, and she still did. I don't know that this is an evil thing. It kind of sounds like he's 22, so still a young person. He's still young. This is a brozo thing. It's just something that is probably lack of life experience and a very simplified worldview probably create here. And I don't know that he was evil. He just isn't thinking everything through here. Now it's wrong. It's definitely wrong the way he's trying to apply it here, but I don't know that he's evil for it. He's just trying to take advantage of multiple people here. So let's go ahead and put him on 2. Definitely should not have done this. Definitely shouldn't have. I don't think he's evil. He's just trying to use some backward logic to make himself feel okay with this. And it's not. It's not okay.